So we are live. I have a treat for you today. This woman is extraordinary. The first time we met, I was so impressed with her direct communication, with her insight, her wisdom, her love for people, but also a love for marketing. And I just felt like here's someone who really gets it. You know, when you just click with people and you just go, I had such respect for her. And that was months ago. And then we were fortunate enough to be at another networking event just recently. And she flew all the way over from Perth to Brisbane. And we got to catch up, and I said, Carmel Murphy, it is so good to be connected. I would love to have you on the show. And here we are. We've made it happen. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Carmel Murphy, the communication queen.
Hey, how you going, Patrick? So good to be here.
Yeah, the first thing that struck me about it was this beautiful Irish accent, right?
Years of practice.
Years of practice. Yeah. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I am from Ireland. I'm from a beautiful place called Wicklow, which is known as the Garden of Ireland.
Oh, beautiful. And living in Perth now?
Live in Perth in Western Australia. I moved to Melbourne first when I came to Australia 31 years ago, and did the country Victoria, South Australia, and now live in Perth.
And you're looking absolutely fabulous, by the way, Carmel.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So thanks for taking the time.
Event. I'm so excited to be here and so excited to have this chat.
Unreal. Well, look, I really want to dive into, because you've got a really, with a whole career and lifetime basically and background in marketing and communications. So I want to hear a bit more about that. And you've developed some really practical functional models that can really help business owners. So I want to dive into more of that. But before we get into all of that, can I hear a little bit more about who you are and what brings you to be, like, from Ireland to Melbourne to Perth to be doing the kind of work that you're doing with business owners now? Tell me a little story.
Sure. Tell you a little story. So I am the youngest daughter of five girls in a little small 2-bedroom house. And from the time I was very young, as you can imagine, with 4 older sisters, it was quite challenging to get my voice heard. So I used to have to do weird and wacky things quite often to do that. But what I discovered, I always had a need to, I don't fit in here. I'm not going to stay here forever. I just don't fit here. It's not quite right for me. And so throughout that, I was always rebelling. I ended up working in hospitality, which I did for many, many years. But I always had this thing about going to Australia. It was the weirdest thing. And I had an uncle that lived out here. So at 17, I actually went and lived in America for 3 months. Quite young. Yeah, I was supposed to go and live there forever, but I got homesick after 3 months. Came back and had a daughter, actually, and still wanted to come. So I met my husband, who was a plumber, so he had the qualifications to get to Australia. Which helped us along. We had another daughter and came to Melbourne. That's where we came first. And I always remember we arrived in Melbourne, and the house we were in was a weatherboard house in the middle of January, as you can imagine, coming from Ireland, winter time in Ireland, in the middle of January. And it was a weatherboard house with a rabbit living in the weatherboard, and the toilet was outside. I thought I had come to this really weird, oh my goodness, it was bizarre. But
What year was this? What year was that, Carmen?
Oh gosh, 1989, January.
Okay, wow. Wow.
Yeah, a little while ago. But you know what? I got bitten by a white-tailed spider within that first 6 months as well, and I'll never forget. I went to a doctor who was from Wales. And I had been bitten by this spider, and he's going, take these tablets. If they don't work, come back and see me. And all I had heard in Ireland was these poison spiders. I'm going, I might not be alive to come back to you and tell you. How do you know? Oh, it's bizarre. Yeah. But look, always had a need. It was a bit of an in and out. We went back to Ireland after a couple of years and came back out. But I always was an outside the box thinker. I never would settle for somebody saying, no, you can't do that. So I'd always go, well, how can I? So I went back to hospitality, and that's where I stayed for many years. And I went into recruitment in hospitality. I was a regional manager for a restaurant chain. And I always, again, thought, well, how can you get your restaurant seen? How can you get your bar seen? What can we do differently to make sure that people are coming to us? So I guess that's where the kind of marketing and that came out of. And then I went and I studied life coaching,
Mhm.
which we do, and NLP and a few other little bells and whistles there. And came back to this idea of when I studied that, I knew, or I was told, you had to know your ideal client. You had to know who you're speaking to. And I was, yeah, but I can help so many people. So I never really kind of, dug deeper into it until about 5.5 years ago when I went back to working with a mentor of mine who I had worked with, on and off, because it's a whole, as you
Mhm.
know, Patrick, a huge learning journey. And it's the personal learning is the biggest part of it. And he said to me, so who's your avatar, AKA ideal client? And I went, oh, yeah, she's and he kind of, I'd like to say held my hand, but there's sometimes it wasn't hand holding and made me actually work on it. And
Yeah.
the value that's come out of that is actually really recognizing who it is I help most, how I can help them, and really talking their language so that I can bring them to where they want to go has just been so powerful in the last 5 years and has escalated my business because of that. So, I mean, and I stuffed it up. I started with the niche of hospitality. Surely I can help all these leaders in hospitality and tried that, but it wasn't quite where I fit. So again, outside the box thinker and go, where is this? So it
Mhm.
changed everything. And now, as you heard the other night, I talk about how to nail your niche. I talk about how to uncover your lucrative target market. And I have a pretty tight stance on that in terms of I'm all for people helping the greater good. If you have a charity you're passionate about, if you have something you're passionate about, that's absolutely fine. But if it's not lucrative, find something that is, that you're good at, that you can do, so you can get the money to actually make more of an impact in what you're passionate about.
Yes. And
Yes.
that's one of the reasons I love you so much, right? Make
Mm,
money and make a difference because you can't make a difference
absolutely.
if you're not making any money, right?
No, no, absolutely. So,
And you
and
got no lifestyle
there's
and it's
that.
no fun at all.
No, no, no. I want fun. I like fun. Cool.
Brilliant.
There you go.
Well, thanks for sharing. Look, I definitely want to hear more about this niche thing, but tell me first, who is your ideal client? Who is the avatar now? Because after doing all this work on it and obviously teaching this as well, give me an example of a description that, the Carmel Murphy definition for an ideal client.
Sure. My ideal client document is actually 9 pages, just to let you know.
9 pages.
Yeah, yeah, I've done a
Big
lot of
font,
work on it. And
big
not
font,
big font. No, not big font. Normal font.
photographs.
Um, no photographs. No, no, no. And here's the thing. Before I go into that, I just want to say. So I get asked all the time, but Carmel, if I chunk down that much to one specific person, then all
Yep.
the other people that I know I could help, I can't help them. And here's the illusion. So when I have
I love
that
this.
9 page document that my one is, 6 page I used before, and I've experimented with this in a room with men and women. I've printed it out and I've said, take it away, see if anything in that document resonates with you. And every single person came back with at least 1 to 2 sentences. Because if one person's feeling like this, lots of other people will. So my
Mm.
ideal client is like 100%. I know everything about her, inside out, upside down, everything. But somebody else might have 10% of what she has. Somebody else might have
Mm.
50% of what they have. And they'll come to me because I'm known as the expert person. So it actually works to make you really clear on who you're speaking to. So that every time I'm speaking to someone, I'm speaking to Mary is my avatar now. I'm speaking to Mary, but my certainty itself becomes attractive. So that's how I ended up being called the Avatar Queen. People start saying, "Oh, yeah, I need to talk to you. You're the Avatar Queen." That was men, women, everything, because I became certain what I was talking about. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Mary, my avatar, is a woman of a certain age. So she's between 45 and 55, no more than 10 years. I know what her life circumstances are. I know the insight from her youth, as in
Yeah.
my avatar actually
Can I
had some
comment on
trauma.
that too, Because I hear,
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
obviously we're doing similar work, and people all the time they'll come and say, "Oh, so my ideal avatar is men or women between 25 and 55," and you go, it's like that's not.
Yeah,
I mean, I was just thinking about it now. In '89, you were leaving your country, you're leaving home with your husband, moving country, and I
yeah.
was learning to ride a bicycle. Now, do you reckon we might have a
Shut
few
up.
references from '89? Do you know what I mean? Like, just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just that you can't have a 20 or 30-year avatar. Like even 10 years is
No,
huge. There's probably 10 years between us, but that's a wildly different experience, right? That's
absolutely.
why it's got to be tight because you can't talk to
Yeah.
us the same way.
No, absolutely, and that's such a great point. However, um, the opposite side of that is putting it down to that 10-year age gap doesn't mean you won't work with somebody that's an old soul, a bit
Of
younger, or
course.
somebody that's a bit older that says, hang on, I forgot to learn that part in my business. Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. All right, so continue. So, Mary, age,
Yeah.
what's the next bit?
So I know all of her demographics, as in, where does she live? Does she have children? What's her life circumstance? How she thinks. One thing that's really important as well is how does she consume her media? I think everything we've learned
Nice.
previously about marketing is wrong. And, otherwise you'd already be successful, wouldn't it? Because the old way of marketing simply doesn't work the same anymore. We're being bombarded all the time. So, how does your avatar consume their media? Are they on, regular TV? Are they on Netflix? Have they got Foxtel? Are they actually on Facebook? If they are on Facebook, are they in groups? How are
Mm,
they digesting and finding out what the world is around them? Because I need to know that in order for me to, yes, you can do some marketing towards them in those areas, but also you can talk the language. So if somebody's watching old drama on TV, well, I need to frame my marketing more around empathizing and throwing stones at the people that have dramatically changed their life, if that makes sense.
totally.
Yeah,
Makes
I
a
even
lot of
know
sense.
about my avatar as back as far as that. Was there any abuse or trauma in their life? Was there any significant events? Now, I don't mean that I'm going to come up in marketing and go, oh my God, were you abused when you were younger? But I
Sure.
understand her to the level of why does she have the story she has about where she
Mm,
is right now? It experiences, that's what's brought her here. Does that make sense?
beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah,
So tell me, with that kind of 9-page clarity on one person,
yeah.
what's possible for you with your marketing that wouldn't be possible if you didn't have that clarity, or for anyone who doesn't have that clarity for their avatar? If they had that, what would be possible for them in their business?
Well, it's really easier to target exactly where they are. So I'm not,
Yeah.
wasting time going, oh, I have to put stuff here and here and here and here and here. I know exactly where they are, where they're showing up. I know what Facebook groups. I know I've actually just come back from a networking group, which was the female only networking group. I have developed a group called the Strong Women Network, which is on Facebook, which is, your broader scope, but I have a local one here in Perth, so we have meetups all the time. So I know where they hang out. I know what they're telling themselves inside,
Did I spell
in
that right?
order to.
Strong Women Network.
You did indeed, yes.
Perfect. So that's a Facebook
Fast
group,
typing.
women
Yes.
only.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. And
Now,
this is for
again, that doesn't mean I only work with women. That's my ideal
sure.
client.
Yeah.
And
This is for
but
women in business or for
yeah, women in business, again, those strong women that are coming out of corporate or they've had a side business hobby for quite some years. They know they're clever. They've run businesses for other people, but they keep coming up against some kind of bloody block. And it can be sometimes a bit of technology and the illusion that we're all sold that they have to do it on their own. So I've developed that so that we have the support of the group. So there'll be somebody in there that
beautiful.
knows some IT or whatever it is. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's such a crazy idea, this idea of the solopreneur. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, whoever built their business in a vacuum? Like, it's not possible.
No.
We
Yeah,
all need a
exactly right.
team. We need clients. We need suppliers. We need supporters, mentors, coaches, people that are looking up to us. Like we need a whole community. They say it takes a tribe to
Absolutely.
raise a child. Well, it definitely
Yes,
takes a
yes,
tribe to raise a business, right? Business are the
absolutely
most needy
so true.
children ever.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. And look, I was just, as I said, at a networking group where it was women, and we were talking about courage. And one of the things that I said then is everyone expects to have courage, or that you're told you have to have courage. But courage doesn't show up till you take an action. You know,
Mm,
it doesn't, it's not something you can put in a wheelbarrow and go, oh, well, I've got courage in there, I'm okay. It's like, we think we have courage or we're scared, but when you take that first step, that's the only way you know that courage is there.
beautiful. I love that. So tell me if what's possible for your business, basically by having this avatar, what you're saying is that you know where to find your clients. You know
Yep,
where they're hanging out, you know the language they're speaking, you can join the conversation that they're already having.
yep.
What's the big problem then if we didn't, without having real clarity on your avatar or your ideal client, what's so bad about that? Because can't I just find clients anywhere, and can't I just, anybody with a face, then I can help them? So like what's wrong with that?
Two feet and a heartbeat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
you
you go.
can. You
And I'm
can. I
playing devil's
couldn't.
advocate here because
No,
I'm
I
with
love
you
it.
100%, but I
No,
want
I love it.
to.
I love these conversations because, again, quite often people won't actually challenge and ask it. And this is where you get some more gold out of it. So I love it. But I liken it to having a bow and arrow, and you've got a big forest over there, and you know that there's animals in the forest. And you actually stand with the bow and arrow, and you just keep shooting it and shooting it and shooting it. Yes, you may eat for a month when you hit some animal, and I'm sorry, animal lovers, I'm just using a metaphor.
What a
But you
horrible
might,
analogy, but we get the point.
I get the point. But you may actually eat for a month, but there's times that the arrows are just going to keep hitting the tree and they're going to keep hitting the wall. Whereas if you had a very specific tool that you knew that could sense and know exactly when your next food was coming up and you could get it each and every time, wouldn't that be a better option and
Wouldn't
save a
that
lot
be
more
very
energy?
interesting? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and,
Got it.
and look, I see a lot of businesses, and again, this was a conversation today. It was like, we don't admit that we're struggling. We all put on this face. I mean, look at bloody Facebook, and we have Instagram and all that. They're great tools, but that's not real. That's not, we put on this face of being famous and everything, but quite often it's not so. And I usually have met people when they're at the point of, this has been a really expensive hobby, Carmel, and I'm ready to give up, but I'm unemployable now. They've
Yep.
got to a stage, they've made themselves unemployable, and they feel like they're running out of time, and they
Mm,
just don't want to die with the song still in them.
mm.
And look, we've all had different turning points, and I've had lots, and it's been a real big growth spurt. But about 3 years ago, my sister passed away, and this has been one of my biggest propellers. My sister was 2 years older than I am right now,
Wow.
and I looked at her and traveled the journey of while she was ill, terminally ill. But I only shared this with you as in it really made me stop and think. She had her insurances, she had everything, she was all ready, for retirement kind of thing. And then
Yeah.
it's gone like that. And I'm going, what the hell am I doing? What, getting ready for all of this. We have to live life. We have to enjoy life. And if I can make a difference to one person that opens the door and allows them to be all they can be, well, I was nearly going to swear, but I won't. Well, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And I don't
Beautiful.
care anymore if I stuff it up because the alternative is I'll be dead and gone. Nobody will bloody remember me anyway.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense. You
Wow.
get what I mean? It really, really made me sit up and go, what the hell are we getting all stuck on this and trying to do everything on our own for? Let's help each other. Let's lift each other up and let's
Right
live.
on, sister. I love
Mm.
that. Wow. And isn't it so often the case that, we're going through life and it's not until we get these pivotal moments, these
Yeah.
really, a big change to the status quo, and it's either with our health or, the life of a loved one or some serious thing, some life-changing thing, and you go, whoa, and you get a little
Absolutely.
moment to actually choose your
Yeah.
future and your destiny, and you can go on a complaint, and you've just taken that and gone, and that can absolutely crush some people. And you've gone, what this means to me is I'm
Yeah.
going to make a
Yeah.
difference. I'm going to live for
Yeah.
now, and I'm going to help, and I'm going to serve, and I'm going to show up and step up and give back.
Yeah. And stuff up.
Step
Don't forget that part, because we
up
all
and
do
stuff
that.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I would like to think that by us in the position that we're in, that by
Yep.
us stuffing off and owning it, that it gives people permission to, you know what? I saw Carmel do that. I saw Patrick do that. Nothing's perfect. It's okay. And you know what?
Yeah.
We still survived it. It's like falling
Yeah.
off the bike, as you said earlier. Nobody ever told us when we were a child, oh, you've tried walking, it didn't work, please stop.
Yeah.
Nobody
That's not
ever
for
told us
you.
that.
That's
No.
not for you. You better stop with that walking thing.
Yeah, yeah, crawl for the rest of your life. Yeah,
Crazy, huh?
yeah,
We literally just
absolutely.
had this conversation in my inner circle in Game Changer Marketing Academy last week. And I was sharing some of the struggles that I'm having in my business right now with my inner circle. And they were like, but you, Patrick, but you got it all together and you're our mentor and you got it all organized. I'm like, no. Like, this
I
is real,
know.
right? We're all going through it all the time. And we've had some great wins. That there's also, there's always a new challenge, there's always a new hurdle, there's always new learnings and opportunities for growth.
Absolutely. And the power in that ability to show your vulnerability in that
Mm.
environment, people do sit back and at first they go, oh my God. And then they go, oh shit, he's just like us.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
That's
beautiful.
so
Beautiful moment.
powerful. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Love
In fact, I can see in the comments one of my crew from the inner circle is watching this right now. You know who you are. Beautiful.
it.
So tell me, what I'd love to do, Carmel, I'd love to hear a little bit about, because you're doing this work with business owners day in, day out, helping them to find their niche as a starting point for their marketing. So when
Yeah,
someone approaches, really looking at this niche and they go, all right, so what we've already looked at is if I can find who my niche is, then the benefit is I know where to find them. And
yeah,
if I don't, the big problem is I'm just like shooting arrows randomly into the forest and it's totally hit and miss, and usually more miss than hit, right? Is
yeah.
being your experience. So what are the mistakes that people make when they finally go, all right, I'm going to go and get my niche sorted out. I'm going to figure out who my avatar is. I'm going to define my ideal client. What are the
Yeah.
mistakes that they make as they're going down that journey? What do you see people doing wrong?
Quite often they'll decide on a niche that just interests them rather than one that they actually have insight into. And that doesn't mean you can't go into a niche you haven't been in before, but you really need to know where you're going. But one of the things is that people will go off, and we can all do it, we can write a great story. They'll go and they say, right, my avatar is, and it's blah, 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 but they actually don't do the test and measure. So, like when
Mm,
they come to me, it's like, okay, this is where we think it is, and there's 4 distinct areas that are actually identified as lucrative areas in Google searches. So there's a way to find out, okay, this is what you think you can do. Let's see if it's lucrative first. Then we do some test and measuring by going in and asking some really relevant marketing questions. Because if you don't do some market research and find out. So, for example, I might think, and this happened years ago, that failure was one of the problems. Well, failure wasn't the language they used about it. They just used
mm,
stuffing up.
mm.
So even that change in the language, well, then in some of my copy would be more about using stuffing up. And
Yeah.
people don't go deep enough. And this is what I tell a lot of my clients is, well, let's go as deep as we need to. And you only ever need to do that one for your avatar. You'll keep adding to it, make it a living, working Word document. You'll keep adding to it.
Beautiful.
But if you
Yep.
don't do it, um, they go round in circles. It's just so frustrating. But I did it myself. So and that's how I know it so well. I accidentally became the
Mm,
avatar queen because people kept coming to me and go, oh my God, you really know stuff about that. And I kind of went, oh, well, maybe I do. And that's how I started teaching it. I didn't set out to start teaching this. It was purely my own journey of what's not working? Why are people not going to me? When people did talk to me, they'd say, oh my God, I get so much value. And I said, well, why am I finding it so hard to get clients? And it was because I wasn't clear on the Panadol problem. I wasn't clear on their urgency gateway. And here's the thing I know. People will say to you, and you know, Patrick, as well as I do, there's so much jargon. There's, oh, it's self sabotage. They're procrastinating. It's this, that, the other. I have never met anyone that's woke up in the middle of the night and go, sweet Jesus, I'm procrastinating. That's what's wrong. They don't do it. That's not the language they use. They wake up in the middle of the night and they go, my life's passing me by. Who am I? That's
Yeah.
where
What
we
am I
need to
doing? What
talk.
am I here for?
Yeah,
How am I
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
how
yeah.
am I gonna be able to get through this? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Spot on.
that's what I find the biggest mistake is people buy into the jargon and start trying talking to their clients in that jargon. And yeah,
No one
superficially
cares.
people know what you're talking about. You need to talk to the reptilian brain, which has a yes or no bias. If you can't ask very specific, structured questions that will elicit a no, the questions are designed to elicit a no, is much more powerful than getting people to say a yes.
Interesting.
Mm.
Interesting. So if we were to look at, I mean, there's a lot of mistakes that people could be making.
Yeah.
What's the system that you use? Would you be willing to share? And I'm taking loads. You see me with my pen in my hand. I'm taking loads of notes here as you're talking. So I'm really enjoying this as well because I love how you speak about it. We definitely speak
Thank
the
you.
same language, but
Thank
you've
you.
got a beautiful, beautiful way of presenting it. So if you were to outline, will you be willing to share with us, kind of the steps that you take people through and the really the important things that they need to consider
Cool.
to
I've
really
got
nail their niche?
two really different ones, but we'll go through the five ways to nail your niche.
I think that's the most valuable thing. I mean, if we can get
Yeah,
that, you can nail your niche and
yeah.
there's 5 steps. Perfect.
And this is
Let's have
what
it.
people I've started calling it the Becca principle. And the Becca principle only because it's what helped me remember it initially, and I just thought actually it's quite interesting, the Becca principle, because one thing again people
What's
forget to
Becca?
do is
Becker?
BECCA.
Becca. All right, let's do this.
So B is for
Becca.
bond, bond, bond. You have to build a bond with your
Like
audience.
James.
But you have to build a
Second or third.
psychological and emotional bond with them before they ever see you.
Mm,
So we have so many things online. There really needs to be a connection that they're going, oh, he adds value. Oh, yeah, I've seen his name before. I met 3 women today and they went, so you're Carmel. I'm going, yeah. I've been watching your lives and blah, blah, blah. And they're exactly my target audience. It was so funny. So you're
so
Carmel,
cool.
yeah. So, but they need to see that you're adding value. So I know a lot of people talk about this, and in coaching terms, specifically, a lot of people go, give away free stuff. I'm not talking about give away free stuff all the time, but add value. Go
Yeah,
into
beautiful.
where it is that your avatar is hanging out, add value, answer questions, etc. Then number 2, so it's E, that you need to know the deepest desires and emotions that that are in your niche, so in your avatar. So what are the 3 deepest emotions that they will feel when you have helped them achieve their deepest desires? What are those deep emotions that they will feel?
Mm,
And what are their 3 deepest frustrations that they can't reach those desires right now? And that goes back to my other program, which is about avatar. And we talk about the psychographics, which digs down into the deepest desires. And then
beautiful.
what are the emotions that they're feeling because of these frustrations? And,
Give me some examples.
so if you look at the 7 deadly sins, for example, so they give you insight and a hint into the emotional feeling, but there's usually a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of fear that just is stuck there in I don't know which way to go, so I won't go anyway. So that's kind of the E part of it. The next C is you can't nail your niche, or the best way to nail your niche, I should say, actually, is to develop a deep connection. Now, in my mind, there's 2 different connections. There's a surface connection, which is all about how you look on Facebook, how you look on Insta. There's that surface thing. I had a conversation with somebody today coming out of that networking event, and we have developed like this such a deep core connection. and she's scared of doing these kind of things. So she's scared of doing a Facebook Live. And I'm walking out with my arm around her because I know her so well now. So when are we going to do that Facebook Live? Do you want me to do it with you? Do you want to do it like this? And because she trusts me completely to do that with her now, because I have developed the bond. I get where her frustrations are coming from, and I know how to
Mm,
speak to her. Does that make sense?
totally. Yeah,
And the
got
core
it.
connection is where the real magic happens, because
So this is the
you
second
know,
C, core connection.
yeah, no, this
Yeah.
is still the
No,
first thing,
this is
soul
still the first
connection.
C. All right, so
Yeah,
core
yeah.
connection.
So we have to have the ability of empathizing and almost throwing stones at whoever they perceive is the enemy. So all those people that have taken your money before, or whatever that is, or all
The
those
common enemy.
yeah, all the schools that never taught you that this was a thing, whatever it is, but in your language. So they're going, she gets me. So that's that. So when you get deep core connection and know what their urgency gateway is, so their urgency gateway is just something they're looking to cure right now.
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
the second C is all about your three core messages. So three core messages are
Okay.
vital. So when I talk about three core messages, I'm talking about, for me, they're the three things that stand under everything I speak about. So I think I gave the example when I was speaking at that event, that one of the audience I speak to is about money and how to, get more money. So my three core messages are there is everything you've learned about money is wrong. Otherwise, you'd already be rich, wouldn't you? And you're conditioned for financial servitude, not freedom. And you don't need more money to become rich. You just need to learn how to multiply the value of the money you're already spending. So when I'm
Nice.
talking to people about money, I may not mention those, but they stand under everything I'm speaking about. So
Gotcha.
when I'm talking about marketing, one of them would be, for example, everything you have learned about marketing is wrong. Otherwise, you'd be successful because it's a whole new paradigm. And another one is stop trying to speak to everyone. It's not going to bring you financial freedom.
Yes.
So
Beautiful.
then it becomes really easy to do your 60-second elevator speech or whatever people want to call it, because you have these three things. So I can change it every time I speak, but my core message underneath is always the same.
Mm,
Yeah. And then number five is
beautiful.
your ability to anchor them. So this is our A, is to
A
anchor
for
them
anchor.
to good feelings to you and your content through genuine goodwill. And the best way to do this is via story. So when you know your avatar so well and you found out if it's lucrative and you do all that stuff, when you know their story so well, you can insert yourself in a way that they're going, she gets me, she knows exactly what I'm talking about, she gets where I'm coming from. She's the person that I resonate with and that can help me most.
Beautiful.
Make sense? So
Holy
that's the
moly.
Becker principle.
I like it. The Becca, BECCA, 5 steps. So tell me, if someone just got that right, if they actually watched this back, wrote down
Mm,
BECCA like I have here, made their notes, and actually
yeah.
took themselves through a process and did that, what change would they expect in their business?
They start getting people to see them. They start getting people to contact them. They start going, hang on. You're talking about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they start getting responses back from, if they're in Facebook groups, just for example, to use an example, people would start seeing them more. Now, this is only one part of it. This is kind of the bigger funnel, if you like. So,
Yes.
you become, and that's what I was, because I did coaching and NLP and all that. So I was a coach. So I was talking about all of this kind of avatar and ideal client stuff. And that's how it kind of became like this. And then people started saying, this avatar stuff. And then I jumped right down to who in that group of coaches, consultants, business owners was actually my ideal avatar.
Mm,
So it helps you get clearer on that because you start talking to them and you start realizing who's showing up more. And a good
beautiful.
tip is always, if you're really stuck to start on who your avatar is, start with yourself 3 to 5 years ago or before you've had that change or transition of whatever it is. because the process is the process. Do the process. You find it changes. That's okay. It's a workable, changeable document. But don't not do the process.
Beautiful. So good. This is amazing. Carmel, thank you so much. I mean, I feel like I could talk to you forever. And I love the alignment.
Thank you.
I mean, only partially because I love that accent, but partially because what you're saying is so good too. So you got the double whammy there with me. It's fantastic. Tell me, for people, like, how can we get more of you? What's the first steps? I mean, obviously, join the Facebook group Strong Women Network that you mentioned earlier. What else can we do? And how can I get more of you?
My business name is the Communication Queen, so there is also that on Facebook as well, and obviously Carmel Murphy, and you'll see my picture is a little bit like this. So I only have a few friend spaces left there, so I'm always on Facebook Lives and different things in those. And my website at the moment, is under some construction, but at the moment there is still a marketing audit template that you can download a PDF from there.
What's the website?
It's the Communication Queen, .com.au. Obviously,
fantastic.
So they can go on there. As I said, because my original niche was hospitality, and the whole website was designed that way. It's now been so somebody went out of business, and I had to change the whole website. As happens to it, we roll with the punches, and that happens to people.
Tell me what I can get when I get there. When I go to the communicationqueen.com.au, why would I go there? What can I get? What's in it for me?
Yeah, at the moment, what's in it for you is there is a free PDF on a marketing audit and what kind of things to look for within a marketing audit that would benefit your business.
You know what's so funny? I've just had a look at the site now, and there's a big marketing mastery. Get the creating greater influence, persuasion, and acceptance. Download the free PDF.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
And the site looks beautiful. Isn't it so funny that as marketers especially, but we always look at our own stuff and go, oh, that's no good. No, that's got to all be redone. No, that's just not.
Yeah.
And then someone else turning up for the first time goes, what's nice? It looks great.
Yeah. There you go. And on the Communication Queen page, when you go to the business page, you will get an opportunity to download another PDF, which is the 5 steps to uncovering your lucrative target market.
Beautiful. That's in Facebook?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Any events coming up? Anything interesting happening? You're in Perth, right?
Yes.
Whereabouts in Perth?
I'm in a place called Swanview, which is close to Midland. Okay. With my chickens and my ducks and my geese, but let's True story. Tomorrow night I have Strong Women Network. We have a meetup tomorrow night, and on the 26th of October we actually have the 5 steps to uncovering your lucrative target market half-day workshop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unreal. How much is that?
And then we have that one's $49, but we have a 4-day retreat in November, which has my mentor who has built 4 multi-million-dollar businesses from the ground up. There has myself, and I also have a copywriter. So it's a copy and marketing retreat, and we also show people how to do video, as in video for their training to put on a membership site and things like that.
Unreal. And just message you for info on that?
Absolutely, I'm happy to send you the link
Messenger.
on that. That's 4 full days, and it has sleepover facilities too here in Perth. It's a beautiful area, Patrick, because it's really important, as you would know, to actually make sure that you're in an environment that you're working on your business, not in it. So we have a labyrinth and everything there. It's in a country area. It's really geared for people to step out of it. There's outside areas. There's even a huge chessboard. You'd love it, like a stand-up chessboard.
So cool.
So that you can have a bit of fun while you're actually learning and growing, and you're not caught up in the hustle bustle for 4 full days. Yeah.
Got it. That's it. I'm coming. I'm coming over. Okay. I wish you were here. I'd love to have you. I run the Game Changer Business Network, and we run a Facebook group, and then we've got a whole bunch of morning like breakfast events and evening events where I do interviews like this, but we get the networking part of it as well. So it's like, it's like come to the concert instead of just listen to the CD, right? You actually get the full experience. It's really cool. and we've got
I
a
know.
Game Changer Business evening coming up. I wish next time you're in Brisbane, let me know when you're coming over. I would love to feature you at one of our breakfast events or evening
February.
events.
I'm there in February for a boot
Feb.
camp.
All right, well, I'll make a note of that, and we'll chat about it afterwards.
Yeah, yeah,
Because this has just been so much fun and so valuable. I always look at, am I having fun? Am I learning something? And
yeah,
if either of
absolutely.
those two are missing, I'm out, right? I'm like,
Yeah. Me too. You get bored with it, don't you? Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Well, Carmel, thank you so much for taking the time to connect. I'm so grateful for this. Any final thoughts before we wrap up? Final words? Anything about niche or about business? Anything philosophical? What are you
Not
thinking?
philosophical, of course. I guess for me, the biggest thing is it doesn't matter how slowly you go as long as you don't stop. If it's something you're thinking about, if it's something that's always on your mind, just don't stop. You know, for many years I worked full time. I went in and out of the workplace, but I never stopped underneath. I
Mm,
never stopped no matter what happened because trust me when I tell you, a few years down the track, you'll be sitting there going, why didn't I? Even Steve Jobs, isn't it? What was it Steve Jobs said at the end of his life? He said, I have, all of the money, I'm paraphrasing, but all of the money you could ever want, but I'm still lying here dying on my own.
wow.
And
Wow.
that's not, I want to, lie on my deathbed and know that I've made a difference.
And be going, yes, I
Yeah,
did that.
yeah.
I did
I
that.
reckon in like, as if I'm on a motorbike going, "Ee!" into my grave like that,
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Have you got some insight around what you'd love that difference or that legacy to be? Are you willing to
Absolutely.
share, I should say?
Yeah. The legacy I want to leave is the power to actually make decisions and be themselves. Like I literally want people to say, well, Jesus, if Karma could do it, I can. Because I'm really the youngest daughter of a family of five from a 2-bedroom house in a little tiny, like literally 50, our house has been just sold, my parents' house, 57 square meters, and that was after the extension was put on. Like, I'm nothing special any more than anyone else is. And why are we, keeping each other down and, having all these bullshit beliefs? So I would
Mm.
like to think that, well, if she could do it, then surely I can.
Carmel Murphy, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank
Really
you
appreciate
so
your
much.
time.
It's been
I've thoroughly
awesome.
enjoyed this connection, and I can't wait to chat to you again soon.
All right. Thank you. Bye for me.
How good was that, right? Insane. I'm going to wrap up. I'd love to see you if you're available for Game Changer Business Evening in Brisbane. So feel free to register for that and join Game Changer Business Network. But definitely, women, go and check out Carmel Murphy's Strong Women Network. What an extraordinary way to connect with a remarkable woman. All right, lots of love. I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.